All right, welcome back to Chapter 2 lecture series, and our conversation for today is pH, which is always abbreviated with a little p and a capital H and stands for the percent hydrogen or percentage of hydrogen in a solution. Now, pH is really, for us, probably we can think about it most clearly as the designation of whether a solution is acidic or basic or neutral. Now, the pH scale is a logarithmic scale, so when you're seeing a change from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2, it's actually a 10 times change, so it is significant. Our scale does range from 0 to 14, where 7 is classified as neutral. Any number between 0 and 6.99 is considered acidic. Any number between 7.01 and 14 is considered basic. Now there's another word that can be used here, which is alkaline, so either term is correct. Now when we talk about a neutral pH, this is actually based on the dissociation or separation of pure water. So here we're seeing that water in nature, pure water, doesn't really exist, so this would be in the laboratory. You have your water molecule and it's going to separate into a hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion, which you see here. This is reversible reaction, so notice you have your arrows going in both ways. So the amount of hydrogen ion that's released in pure water is measured on our pH scale of 7. So this is how we get this term neutral, and this is what our scale is based on, the amount of hydrogen released into the solution. Now the thing that's significant about this hydrogen, remember it's a proton and an electron. If it's a hydrogen ion, it's just a proton, nothing orbiting it. So imagine that to be extremely reactive. Anything that's acidic is going to release a lot of that reactive hydrogen ion into solution. So something that's acidic has a low number on the pH scale, but a high concentration of hydrogen ions. So notice I've used my brackets here to represent the term concentration, so that's how you can figure that out. Now, a strong acid is something that's going to disassociate or separate completely, and it's going to have a very low number on the scale. So hydrochloric acid is something maybe you've heard of before. This is the acid that is produced in your stomach to help with the breakdown of your food. Hydrochloric acid has a pH of about 2, so very low on the scale. It is not reversible, so hydrochloric acid will disassociate into a hydrogen ion and a chloride ion. So this is why it's a strong acid. If it's something that's called a weak acid, that means it's reversible and it goes back and forth. A basic solution, rather than releasing a lot of hydrogen ion, will release a lot of hydroxide ion. But it's just as corrosive for the cell as something that's acidic. So here your numbers get larger, your amount of hydrogen ion gets smaller. So here we can describe a base as having a lot of hydroxide ion or very little hydrogen ion. In the case of a strong base, just like a strong acid, it's considered strong if it disassociates completely. So sodium hydroxide, which is bleach, is a strong base, and it's separating completely to give you a sodium ion and a hydroxide ion. Now, pH can be very damaging to your cells if it's too acidic or too basic. It's one of those things that has to be homeostatically regulated. One of the tools our cells use and our body use to regulate the pH is to produce chemicals that are called buffers. Buffers can temporarily store hydrogen ions. So if you can store it, you can trap it, but you can also release it. So you can balance the amount of hydrogen ion in the solution with the help of a buffer. So buffers can either release hydrogen ion as needed, or it can pull that hydrogen out of solution by pairing with it. And so this is going to prevent these big fluctuations in pH that are happening just as a result of metabolism. Your respiratory system and your urinary system are going to also be involved in the regulating of pH and actually like doing a permanent removal of hydrogen ion. The buffer is temporary, so it's just kind of a little trap or store for that hydrogen ion or release of it as needed. That actually completes us for part 1 of our chapter 2. Yay!